On today's show, we are joined with the founder of Tip Top Canine. What's Tip Top Canine? TipTopCanine.com is a dog training business and a franchise that teaches people just like you how to train dogs within 6 weeks so that you can become a Tip Top Canine franchisee. It's a business model that solves a problem that many people have. So many people buy a dog, and then their dog begins to eat everything they own. The dog begins to change the way they live their life. You end up having people that no longer invite people over to visit anymore because their dog is likely to jump up on them or to bite them. And so Ryan Wimpey, the founder of Tip Top Canine, has invested over a decade of his life into learning how to become one of the best dog trainers on the planet. And he is passionate about training dogs, and he has created a business model that solves a problem that thousands and thousands and even millions of Americans have, which is why my wife and I have decided to invest in the business model. And on today's show, Ryan Wimpey joins us to share how over the past 3 years, he's been able to grow Tip Top Canine from just one location to now more than 10 locations, and how maybe buying a Tip Top franchise might just be the right thing for you and your family to use to achieve your financial and time freedom goals. On today's show, we cover a lot of ground, so grab a pen and pad and let's enter into the lab as Ryan Wimpey shares with us the Tip Top Canine story.
You pooped in the refrigerator, and you ate a whole wheel of cheese? How'd you do that? It's actually, I'm not even mad. That's amazing.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, I am fired up for you to get to know somebody who can relate to you, somebody who is one of you, somebody who is an entrepreneur, somebody who pursued their passion, and somebody who's now having massive success. Ryan with Tip Top Canine, welcome on to the Thrive Time Show. How are you, sir?
What's going on? I am good. How are you, Clay?
Well, last time I saw you, I'm doing very well. Last time I saw you, last time you were in the man cave here, the room looked very different.
It did. It looks a whole lot different. It's big.
It's bigger.
Big now. There are more books out, too.
Yeah, we had a big flood. And the flood filled this room, true story, with water about waist deep before I discovered how bad it was. So we had to gut the whole thing. So the man cave is much bigger. It's much better. It's back. And
Did you put more lights in here, too?
More lights, more barnwood, more bookshelves.
Oh, more barnwood for sure.
Oh, the whole deal. More pinion wood is nailed to the walls. Just more accoutrements. The bathroom door has much more a swag attached to it now than it used to have, by the way.
Yeah, it looks like it's about to come off the hinges.
What's that?
It's just going to fold off the hinges.
Oh, yeah.
The best addition, though, is that bear paw toilet paper dispenser. It looks like bear hands coming out of the wall. It's great.
I'm going to have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, it's awesome, seriously. Now, on today's show, we're talking about something that's been 11 years in the making. That's the Tip Top Canine franchise. So let's tell the listeners, how did you and I first meet, Ryan?
We first met, actually called for an assessment. I heard you on the Profit First podcast with Mike McAllowitz.
And at that point, how long had you already been in business?
We've been working together for 3.5 years, so I'd already been in business for 7.5 years.
7.5 years.
Yeah.
So when did you actually first get the idea to start Tip Top Canine?
Well, I was actually training for someone else, and they were like, hey, we're moving to Indiana. So
you worked for a guy.
Yeah, I worked for a couple.
A couple.
Yeah, a husband-wife dog training team. And I worked for them. I had actually interned for them, worked for free for like 6 months to try to get hired. And then I worked for them. They moved, and I had been at a seminar before where a famous dog trainer had been training us, and he was like, hey, just so you know, if you ever want to go out on your own, let me know, and I'll help you get set up.
A famous dog trainer?
Yes.
Is this a thing?
Yeah. No, yeah, there's some famous dog trainers.
Was it Cesar Millan?
It was not.
Are you making that name up?
No. That's the only name I can come up with, too.
It's the only one I could think of.
I feel like I'm in a dream world where you guys are making things
That's
up.
the guy on the Dog Whisperer show.
That's
That's who he's referring to.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So, all right,
Oh, no.
All right, so here we go. So you had this idea. You thought, hey, you know what? I probably shouldn't lose my job. I should probably start my own thing, maybe.
Yeah, so I was a full-time purchasing agent, and I trained dogs nights and weekends. And so I was like, well, I'm either going to go back to my cubicle or I'm going to do my own thing.
So you did your own thing.
Yep.
And how did you get your first 10 customers?
First 10 customers, not traditionally. I bought a van. I wrapped the van bright yellow, and I went out in the parking lot behind Chick-fil-A and trained my dogs for hours during lunch periods.
Are you being serious?
I'm dead serious, man. I am dead serious. I had no leads. I had no website. I had a business card from Vistaprint, and I would go train dogs with a bright yellow van, multiple dogs in the parking lot, until people would come and be like, dude, what is going on?
What I want to make sure the listeners get about this is a lot of people say they want to buy a franchise. August 5th, John Barnett has booked me to be the keynote speaker at the OxyFresh annual conference there. And when I'm speaking there to 400 franchisees, one of the things I have to remember is that John Barnett has dragon energy because he's the founder of OxyFresh.
Right.
So he did the same kind of guerrilla marketing that you had to do, Ryan, to build Tip Top Canine. There's a certain Jason, how would you describe these founder people, the scrappiness of these founders? How would you describe the aura of these founders?
They don't have a I'm going to lose bone in their body. They wake up every day with this
whatever it takes,
nonstop passion. Like the first time I met Barnett, I was used to seeing him on the elephant door cling. He's this nice, smiley guy. I get there, he's very polite, but my God, he's intense. He never sat down. He paced around the room the entire time, expo marker in hand, as you guys were nailing out the FDD, and we were there for 7 straight hours,
right?
And he just went. It was insane.
Because the idea is we're going to get an FDD made today.
Right.
So we're not going to leave the room until it's done.
Yeah, but both of you have that dragon energy where you're like, yeah, does this suck? Absolutely. We have to listen to all this legal jargon. We have to bounce ideas back and forth, but we're not stopping until it gets done.
So what happens is when you sell a franchise, this is the danger. This is what we always have to remember. Anybody out there who sells franchises, you've got to remember this. The people that want to buy a franchise, as a general rule, want time freedom and financial freedom. And they are not a bunch of battle axe wielding Viking people. And Breck, you started your own business.
Right.
You went through hell and back to build drbreck.com.
Yeah, I kind of just figured I was stupid enough to maybe just succeed.
How did you get
Because I wouldn't quit.
How did you get your first 10 patients? Were you out there dog training with Ryan?
Well, I wasn't dog training, but yeah, I mean, it was just a hard, slow grind. I mean, it was just meeting people one-on-one, going door to door to introduce myself to neighbors in the area, like business neighbors.
You went door to door?
Yeah, meeting people anywhere I was at. I mean, if I was at a restaurant, I was
this story.
leaving the same kind of Vistaprint card.
Adjusting people
with
in
every every waitress that I talked to, I'm like, I know you're on your feet all day. If you need me, I'm here. I mean, I'm giving my card to people at the gas station. I mean, anywhere and everywhere.
And as we're breaking down Ryan's story, I want to make sure everybody gets this idea. I was at Home Depot, Office Depot on Wednesday night, and the most helpful customer service rep in the history of the world was there.
Yeah.
Wow. His name is Caden. He's a dude. And I went there and asked to buy a printer. Where can I find the Brother printer?
Right.
And this dude, like everybody else, kind of is almost avoiding me at Office Depot.
Probably not almost.
There's no overhead music. There's no energy there.
Right.
And this dude springs to he springs into action almost like a puma, like a customer service puma. I can help you, sir. He comes from across the room, helps me, asks me if I want a warranty. Do I want to? Would I like him to help me? Do I need him to carry out the printer to my car? I mean, he's calling me, yes, sir, no, sir. So I hired the guy.
Awesome.
Nice.
I love that.
But
story.
I'm always.
I was wondering why you remembered his first name.
Oh my gosh. I'm always thinking that way. Though when I go to Office Depot, I don't know how you go to Office Depot, guys, but when Ryan goes to Office Depot at Tip Top Canine, and I know when you go to Office Depot, you're thinking, I'm looking for good employees.
Sure.
Or when you meet somebody, you're thinking, well, they appear to have a spine. Maybe they need help. I mean, you're thinking, do you have a dog? If you've talked to somebody in conversation and they say, I have a dog, even though Tip Top Canine is now a bigger company, you still have that sort of dragon energy, and it can be tough when somebody wants to buy a Tip Top Canine franchise because we have to vet you and to find out if you are the right fit. Because if you don't have a certain level of scrappiness, it's not going to work. Because Ryan's run through the minefield and has tried every possible marketing system that didn't work to find the stuff that does work.
Right.
But it could almost be befuddling to a founder when they're talking to a franchisee and the franchisee says, "So you want me to go behind a Chick-fil-A and demo dogs? Are you nuts?"
Well, most of our people are
Just
getting
nuts
leads
enough.
now.
Yeah, they're getting
They
leads.
get leads pretty quick.
They don't need to do that.
No.
But
no.
you came from a place where it's almost foreign to you not to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I still wear yellow, my yellow polo everywhere I go.
Yeah, you
I
do.
drive my yellow van
I love it.
everywhere I go. I have a car seat, so I'll take little man, put him in the yellow van. I still drive everywhere, and people come talk. They see a yellow van outside, they see a guy in a yellow dog training shirt, and they come talk.
So when did you start to gain traction? When did you feel like this was actually going to work?
Probably about year 5 or 6.
Year 5 or 6?
Yeah, I don't know if that's disheartening or not, but it took. I was pretty high skill level, but low business skill level. For
Skill
quite a
level
while.
of training dogs.
Correct.
Okay, but low business skill level.
Yes.
Yeah.
It took a while, man. It took a
and
while.
I think with clients that I coach who are like you, it's easier because you have dragon energy. So the biggest thing we have to work on, I always say, is you learn the systems and then the stoicism.
Right.
Because, Jason, you see this. I talked to a guy, and by the way, this show's going to come out in April, so I'm not trying to throw a customer on under the bus or a client. I won't mention any of the details of their industry, but I'll just say this dude got a 4-star on Friday.
Yep.
We talked about this through text or calls starting at, I think, 6 a.m. on Friday. And we did not stop talking about this until 5 p.m. on Friday because he got a 4-star.
And the funny thing about that is in that amount of time, you could have gotten enough reviews to rebuild that reputation.
I know. But, I mean, it's like won't stop. He calls me, "Hey, man, I got a problem. What's going on?" "Somebody left me a 4-star. And they're not even a customer. They didn't even buy from me. They're not even a customer. They are not." And I'm going, "You got to let it go. What I want you to do is go up there. If you want to respond, you can. You can say, 'I appreciate you. We strive to provide you the best service possible. If you'd like to resolve the issue or we can help you in any way, please let me know.'" Boom, boom, boom. You know what he does?
What?
He goes up there and blasts the dude who wrote a 4-star.
That's not
Worst
good.
move.
Writes like a
I've
paragraph.
I've looked at some of those reviews for services that I'm wanting, and then I see like the owner get into some kind of little petty battle, and I'm like, I'm out. I'm going somewhere else.
That can ruin your Google My Business page.
Yeah.
It gets bad. So it's like, well, first off, you weren't even a customer. Second off, if you're going to be the kind of person that hides behind a false screen name. 3, and I'm like, dude, stop that. So about noon, he's like, okay, I'll take it down. But then he's texting me, "This crazy person is now emailing." He just can't move on. He literally spent his entire day focused on the 4-star.
Yeah.
And I think it's because he's got that dragon energy. We ended on a good note. But, Ryan, can you talk about that? Because you've learned to be a really great business owner now. You've learned these systems. But was that hard to learn that kind of that stoicism?
Yeah.
Or is that
Our team for a while was deathly afraid to get a 4-star or anything else because we had like 300 5-star reviews and we didn't have any bad ones yet. And we knew eventually everyone's like, it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me. But yeah, as far as the stoicism, that's like, I'm like, okay, I spend 4 hours writing my response, to the review.
Yeah.
Where now we can kind of let that go.
Let it go.
We have a lot more traction as well.
Okay, so let's talk about this now. So since you and I teamed up, I've just tried. I haven't done anything related to training dogs. All we've tried to do is systemize everything.
We don't let you touch the dogs.
We don't at all.
Right.
So if you go to tiptopcanine.com and then you go to a certain hidden page, if you're an owner of the Tip Top Canine, all of the documents are there for you. All of the documents on how to train a dog, how to do sales, how to do marketing, checklists, onboarding checklists, new hire paperwork,
Yes.
How to document injuries. I mean, everything is there. But it was like 10 years of knowledge is now on one page of the website. Is that pretty accurate?
Pretty much, yeah.
What was the most challenging part of systematizing your business? When I started telling you the moves to use, what was the most challenging part? I mean, now we got a turnkey system to generate leads. What was the hardest part to
Probably
embrace?
sitting down and actually doing it because it's a lot easier to just do my job, to just train dogs. That's like easy for me and I like it. So to like sit down and type stuff out and creatively think, it's a lot more challenging. It's
to
a whole
sit
lot more
down and
challenging.
creatively think.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part.
Yeah, in a quiet room. Yes.
I want to make sure the listeners get this. Let's think about the workflow, Jason, from left to right. On page 4 of the Boom Book, everybody, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com/free resources, thrivetimeshow.com/free-resources, you can see this stuff. But as you go from left to right on the Boom Book, the diagram here, you got to figure out your goals. So if somebody wants to buy a tip-top canine, why would somebody want to buy a franchise in your mind?
Well, like you said earlier, they want a business that's going to provide them with time and financial freedom. So they realize this is already a well-established business. All the systems are in place. All they have to do is staff and run it.
Now, because franchises are regulated by the federal government, there's only so much I can talk about, but I want to get into the things we're okay to talk about here. If I reach out and I want to hire Tip Top Canine to fix my dog, to train my dog,
right?
How much does it cost me approximately?
Anywhere from $400 to $4,000.
From $400 to $4,000?
Yes.
What would be like an average ticket in Tulsa, roughly?
Average ticket in Tulsa is $1,700.
Okay. Now, each location, Dr. Breck, can run at their own level of profitability or lack thereof.
Okay.
So you could, in theory, have a SWAT team of 4 or 5 dudes training that dog, and it could look like, Ryan, like the Wu-Tang Clan is out there training your dog. You could do that.
You already have the yellow and black. That's an idea.
And Dr. Breck, you've seen this, though, where you've seen chiropractors who overstaff.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have too many people working for you.
Yeah, I was at a conference recently where, this guy's on the stage talking about different things, and I'm like, man, that he's got, like, he's added up just multiple people, and finally I see him out in the lobby, and I'm like, there's an army behind all this.
So
it's crazy.
I want to make sure the listeners get this. With my business coaching that I do through Make Your Life Epic, I've been doing this since 2007 and 2008. And one thing that people have never understood, and I don't get, we have there's a graphic design firm in Tulsa who hates me. Oh, he hates me.
I think there's a few.
Yeah, and he shows up. And he shows up though to our to the office. This is 16th in Boston back in the day, and he goes, I don't even know how he got an appointment, but he's there somehow, and he says, "Why are you the only graphic design firm in Tulsa that doesn't have a secretary? What is your deal? You're so cheap." Like, I mean, seriously, he was, and I didn't know you at this point, Jason, and I didn't know you yet, Ryan, or you, Breck, but we had a very, very nice coffee bar that I built.
Right.
So it was like going to Starbucks, and every kind of coffee's there, all the different things you could possibly add to it, the cinnamon sticks, but I'd never had a secretary. And I said, because I meet my clients on time, and then I meet the next client on time. So there's no need for me to pay somebody $50,000 a year to follow me around to greet people. I'm just not going to do it. Furthermore, my clients can call me directly. And he goes, dude, you are so unprofessional. I've heard that you don't even return voicemails of potential clients. I go, absolutely, you're right, I don't, because I'm booked out. He's like, that is, but see, he has a person that he's staffing to answer his phone and to greet customers, and that's like 45 to 50 grand a year.
Right.
The other thing he does that I don't do is he invoices his clients. And again, he came in for help. I guess he said that he needed help, and somehow he booked an appointment. So he's meeting with me to say he needs help. And he just basically spends his time complaining about things that I don't do. But he apparently, because I don't invoice people, he thinks that's kind of shady, that I don't invoice you. Now, Breck, if I did invoice a great client like Ryan, what would I then have to do?
Well, then you got to follow up on it, and you got to collect, and
Now, I got a bookkeeper that has to do that. Now, that's 2 jobs. So it is possible to run a tip-top canine extremely unprofitably.
Sure.
Or profitably.
I did it for quite a few years, yeah.
So what would be your tips for running a tip-top canine franchise unprofitably? What are the tips?
Oh, well, definitely the hire extra people that you don't need.
Get a whole rap group of people following you around.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely not needed. And then the other thing is some of the dogs or people, some of the people, they just do unnecessary activities that they don't need to do.
Such as?
Such as they want to make new systems, or they want to come up with creative ideas when really they got a franchise, so if they're diligent, then they make money.
So if you buy an OxyFresh franchise today, and I think it's a great deal, I've been working with John for a long, long time. If you buy an OxyFresh, don't email in to corporate suggesting a logo idea. Don't email
Don't
in.
buy a franchise if you want to recreate the wheel.
Yeah, if you want to be like the Picasso of the business and be super artistic and creative and change stuff around, don't reach out. But if you want a time freedom and financial freedom creating business, that's what Tip Top Canine is all about.
Right.
So now you've got these 12 locations open. Let's kind of go through a few of them and where they came from. So the one in Oklahoma City, that's Seth.
Yes.
And Seth, used to be an employee for you?
Yeah, Seth was our training manager here in Tulsa.
And he thought, hey, I got to get on this deal.
Yeah,
If we're going to franchise, I want one.
Yep, absolutely.
And then you've got Owasso. Where did he come from, Adam?
So the guy who runs the Owasso location, he was actually a client. He actually paid us thousands of dollars to train his dogs, and he actually used our system for multiple years. And then he actually had a pit bull rescue, and then he became a franchise owner.
Where did the homeboys from South Lake, Texas, where did they come from?
They come from Tulsa. They were actually ex-clients as well.
So you got 2 ex-clients who are franchise owners.
Yes.
Then you got Seth in Oklahoma City, who's a former employee.
Correct.
And then you've got, let's go to Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I think Utah, he is a brother of one of my clients.
Yes, he did. He used to do door-to-door sales.
By the way,
if
you're a Mormon and you're listening to this show, buy a Tip Top Canine franchise.
I was about to ask if he's up in Utah. Is he Mormon?
Dude,
Yeah, he
Mormons
is.
don't lose.
He's
That's true.
He's one of the most diligent. We got a lot of diligent people actually, but he's
Jason,
insane.
Are you Mormon?
I wish.
Let's talk about this for a second, though. You're not Mormon.
No.
You're not Christian.
No. One
Are
day
you agnostic? What are you?
I have no idea. I would say, I guess agnostic would be the thing, because I don't openly hate anything. I'm just here.
Just take us into your spiritual world for a second. Where are you?
I'm listening to Wu-Tang Clan and trying to better myself as a human being.
Fair enough. Why do the Mormons in the office get it done so well? I mean, we have an army of Mormons working for us right now. I'm seriously, I'm not kidding. I have thought about this. I have talked about this. I've actually called to get quotes to run billboards right in front of BYU that says now hiring.
Oh, yeah.
Because the Mormons, I mean, what makes them so awesome in the office?
Well, they don't subscribe to the same employee mentality that most people do, where it's just like, if I were to come into the office and be like, God, what can I do today to make Clay say good job? How can I impress Clay? I'm not, like, most people don't work in order to be better at what they do. They work for some sort of self-gratification.
Yep.
But like Ben and Amelia and Angela, they work super hard because they are working towards their God. They work as
unto the Lord.
That's
their whole thing. That's their whole deal. And it's funny, but we have a Dr. Whitlock reached out to me. He's one of my clients, and he said, I need help getting reviews. Can I pay one of your people to do it? So I said, sure. So we charge $25 an hour. And just so the listeners know, I pay the person $12 an hour who makes the calls. And they get paid, per review they get.
Right.
And Angela's supposed to make 100 calls a day.
Mm-hmm.
Breck, do you want to guess how many calls a day she makes?
I know it's more than 100.
She every day
150.
Every day tops 300 calls.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
So if you look up Tulsa Cosmetic Surgery,
right.
She's taken Dr. Whitlock, who's been in business for over 15 years.
Yeah,
from
longer than I've been in business.
She
he's
took
been
him
here probably 20.
Yeah, she took him from like 50 reviews. She just moved past 307 reviews on Friday.
It's nuts.
Yeah. In just like 90 days.
And then didn't you say the other day that people are also, because she's calling, they're like, oh, I should probably come back in for another service.
Yes.
Yeah, it brings it back top of mind. Yeah.
He did $40,000 of sales last week. It's just unbelievable. So he's a Mormon up there, and he's implementing all the systems.
Yes.
How much? How easy is it for him to run the business, or for you? How easy is that relationship with that guy?
Oh, it's very easy. It's an easy relationship. I mean, he worked really hard when he was here at our initial training program.
Yeah, he did.
Oh man,
he's a diligent doer.
Oh, he is so diligent. We run 10-hour days and for training, and he would be here at least 11 or 12, and then sometimes he would send me pictures of video of him training his dog like later, and I'm like, dude, you've been training dogs for like 14 hours today, like every day.
And he runs his staff lean, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, it's him.
It's him.
It's him.
So if he does, and again, we can't make claims, but in the FDD, you can share sales totals. In his first year, could you share how much sales he did? Is that possible today or not?
Yeah, so like his last month that I have here in the FDD, on record, June 2019, he did $19,575 by himself.
He did $19,000 in sales.
I called him and asked him. I was like, hey, do you have people now? And he was like, nope, just me. And I was like, what?
That's awesome.
Now, I don't know what he pays himself, but in that pie chart of where the money goes, if there's $19,000 coming in, and you don't have a whole lot of people on that payroll, basically you are the only person on that payroll. I empower you to pay yourself a lot of money.
That's definitely no one else has put up numbers like that by themselves.
Shunda.
He's hustling.
Breck, you had a hot take.
Well, so my question is, how many of these people, because you've talked about a couple of former clients, and I mean, how many of them knew anything about training a dog?
Zero
to
dog
start
training
with?
experience. Zero.
So what about the former clients who were also obviously calling you to train their dogs?
Right.
They obviously didn't know anything.
No, they had no idea. So like in South Lake, Kat, she was a graphic designer.
Yep.
And Adam, he sold mortgages. So they're not
Complete departure. They're doing something
they
totally
just had like,
different,
hey, I
but
got a new dog.
they
I don't
can
know what
follow
to do
the
with
system.
it. They called. And they're like, hey, I like this system. And then we're franchising, and they're like, well, that sounds fun.
In full disclosure, I was working with Ryan, and I think this is how I would describe our relationship. When we first started, I love our relationship now, but when we first started, whenever you work with someone with dragon energy, both of us are going to be a little bit pissed. Because like I'm teaching like urgent but sustainable. Like stoic, but let's get it done. And Ryan is teaching like, let's get it done. So you gotta, if you're not careful, the entrepreneur will want to change their ads every day. They'll want to change a print piece every day. And then nothing gets done. No. I'm just saying this is very good. It's a tough thing. But Ryan very quickly, I don't know if it was your wife kind of coaching you through that or if it was me or you, but pretty soon he realized he started getting it real fast going, okay, I got to get Google reviews. I got to write content. I got to have a no-brainer that works. I got to set it and forget it. Okay, I get it. So we're doing it. I told Vanessa, we need to invest in this business because when you franchise, it costs some money. We're paying Wes Carter. I think the last legal bill we paid him was more than $10,000.
Yes,
Am I correct?
it was. Yeah.
We're paying him $10,000 multiple times.
Right.
And wintersking.com is a great law firm, and I'm happy to pay them.
Right.
But what we did is I said, Ryan, Rachel, if you guys want to team up, let's do it. You guys are the majority owners. I'll be a minority partner. I'll put in pro rata. Let's say we have a bill for $100. I'll put in $33. You put in $66. Let's do it that way. So full disclosure, I am an investor in the brand.
Right.
Zero input on the dog training, which is a good thing. But I build the systems, which is a good thing. So when people, want to franchise, I don't think people realize how much it costs, how much time it takes to do it. It's expensive.
A lot has gone into this to even get it to that point.
Right. So Ryan, how long did it take to get all the legal documents together?
The legal
to franchise?
documents was a year and a half.
Year and a half.
Right. That's meeting with Wes Carter,
every
our
week,
attorney, every week for a year and a half.
And that's fast. And just so we're clear, I have worked with other brands, and that is fast. A year and a half is pretty fast. Yeah. And the reason why it's fast is because in the franchise disclosure document, you have to put in real numbers.
Sure.
And a lot of entrepreneurs don't have any numbers. Jason, I'm sure you've seen this before.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're like, hey, we got to put in your numbers. And they go, numbers?
What are numbers? How are you still a functioning business?
A lot of people, seriously, they don't pay their taxes for 3 or 4 years in a row.
Right.
Breck, I'm sure you've met people like this. They've gone 3 or 4 years without paying taxes. They don't track their numbers. Is it fun tracking your numbers as a chiropractor? Do you like that?
I personally like it.
You're
but I'm a sick freak. Yeah, I like the numbers. But, I mean, especially when the numbers are trending the way you want them to trend, that's a whole lot of fun because you're watching the scoreboard just continue to tick up in your favor.
How helpful has Wes been, Ryan, on the legal aspect of it? Because I find him to be a very non-patronizing attorney. Can you talk about him?
He doesn't speak over me, if that makes sense.
Yep.
He makes the legal aid, and that's probably why we were able to do it quicker.
Yep.
Because he doesn't speak hardcore legalese. He's very reachable. He's very, very responsive because he only takes a limited amount of clients. And he really streamlined it. He's just with how responsive he is, we're able to make tons of changes really fast, and I don't feel like he's trying to ding us $20,000 a month or anything like that,
What's been the most rewarding aspect of running a Tip Top Canine franchise for you? What's been the most rewarding aspect of allowing and empowering other people to open their own Tip Tops?
Yeah, the most rewarding, hands down the most rewarding, is seeing them in a year or year and a half be where it took me 6 years to get.
Everybody out there should keep that in perspective.
Like that's huge. Making what I was, it literally took me 6 years, or seeing someone in a year of running a location, they're able to take a vacation, and I didn't for like 6-7 years.
And you like vacation.
I do like vacation.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
You like it.
You don't. You're a sick man.
I know.
Right? I love it.
Okay.
My wife and I, we love taking vacation.
I think I determined the other day when you mentioned that you like vacation, I don't.
Yeah.
I think I thought I spent way too much time thinking about it, but I think I figured out why I don't like vacation, and I thought about it. Yesterday, I spent my whole day. I don't talk to a single person
Right.
I come upstairs to hang out with the kids around 3 or 4 in the afternoon, but all day I'm on vacation. I mean, I literally don't talk to a single person all day.
Nice.
And I do the same thing on Sunday, essentially. So I'm kind of on a vacation, and I'm in here reading books, which I love to do. And I think I do I do vacation, but maybe not a vacation like on a beach. It's like
You
a
just do it
staycation.
differently.
Staycation. Staycation.
Staycation.
That's what it is. Okay, so let's talk about this. What kind of person should buy a tip-top canine?
Right.
And how much money does it cost?
A person who loves dogs
Okay, got it.
and is a diligent doer.
Gotta love dogs.
Right.
Gotta be
love
diligent.
dogs. Gotta be diligent.
Got it.
And then the initial franchise fee is $43,000.
$43,000 to
Correct.
buy a tip-top canine franchise. You have to love dogs.
You have to yes, you have to love dogs.
You can't
it will
be
not work.
You can't be somebody who wants to buy a tip-top canine and let somebody else run it for you. You have to be an owner-operator. You have
you
to
have to be
personally
an owner operator. So like you could buy a Pizza Hut and not like pizza, but it will not work for dog
You
training.
won't sell them one.
No.
If somebody out there says
we will not. No.
So there's different kinds of franchises. Some are an owner-operator where you're basically buying a job.
Right.
And then you run that job. You run that business.
But this is a great job.
It's a great job.
It is a great job.
I don't know a lot of jobs where you can be up in Utah doing $20,000 a month of sales in your first year. I mean,
With
Yeah.
dogs. Like, can you
With
imagine?
dogs.
Like, that's dream job. Have you seen how beautiful Utah is?
No, he likes it.
Oh,
He loves
yeah.
it. He's in the mountain, especially when it's good weather. He's sending me pictures like in the mountains and stuff with dogs.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is-
what makes Adam in South Lake so good at selling? Like, why does he sell well?
Well, he'd been selling in he was a trained sales guy. He was selling mortgages. He is also his bonding and rapport building with clients is really good, really fast. Right, and they can tell he's like a good person.
What makes Seth such a good dog trainer? Seth in Oklahoma City. What makes him such a good dog trainer?
Well, he's super diligent guy, but he's also just sold out to dog training. So like when we first met him,
Yep.
he was taking his dog to the dog park every day, every week. So anytime I'm at the park, I always saw this guy, and
Yeah.
I was just like,
Man.
huh. And then, I trained him. He trained his dog 3-4 hours a day for a few months until his dog literally looked like mine from like 0 to amazing. He's sold it. He's sold out.
Can you share, as we wrap up today's show, about the sales totals of Adam in Owasso? Like, what can you share with us about his sales during his first year? What this is stuff that's fully disclosed in the franchise disclosure document. This is all regulated by the federal government. What numbers could you share with us about Adam in Owasso?
Yeah, so first off, his area is less than 140,000 people.
Got it.
Right.
So he's in an area with less than 140,000 people.
Right.
About the size of maybe St. Cloud, Minnesota. Maybe if some of you listening out there, not a big multi-million dollar or multi-million person city. I mean, it's a smaller area.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, I can. I'll just go through we have January to June of 2019.
Got it.
So January, he did $20,690
Of sales.
Yes. February, he did $30,000
Of sales?
Yes, of sales.
And how many employees does he have? Do you know?
He has 2.
If you're out there today and
He's a diligent guy.
if you're out there today and you have found yourself in a career that causes you to work all the time and you don't make any money, then maybe it's time to make a switch.
Yeah.
So what I'd encourage you to do is go to tiptopcanine.com, and schedule an initial phone conversation. And guess who you're going to be stuck with? Me. Why? I'm going to try to vet you to see if you are the right fit to buy a tip-top canine. Now, if I think you're the right fit, I don't have majority vote. So then I will have you talk to Ryan and Rachel, and they're going to have you come out to Tulsa for a discovery day. Now, a discovery day is where you actually are working with Ryan and Rachel, actually seeing them train dogs. You're watching the call center make calls. You're seeing the dogs be trained. You're meeting the trainers. There's nothing hidden. Very transparent.
We'll actually have you work some dogs too.
And after that, if you feel like it's a good fit and Ryan and Rachel feel like it's a good fit, then we will then schedule your initial training process. And the training process, how long does that training take to master the art of training dogs?
It's pretty intense. It's 6 weeks, and
6
it's
weeks.
60 hours a week. So we go 6 days a week, 10 hours a day.
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Dr.
So
Breck,
that's
how
6
many weeks did
in
you have to go to chiropractic
Tulsa.
school?
Several.
You went to school
there's
for,
52 weeks a year, and
but I mean, you went to school for 7 years.
yeah.
to
Well, and I
become
went year round, so otherwise it would have been an 8-year process. But yeah, I did all my bachelor's degree and everything. I mean, just nonstop. You know, my wife graduated a year ahead of me in high school, and we dated in high school.
Wow.
So I was constantly like trying to play catch up, but
Yeah.
yet she never did like take her foot off the gas. She was still taking, full 18 to 24 hours a semester. So I'm like, how am I going to catch up unless I take like 26 and 28 hours a semester? So, I mean, it was just like, I got to push it because I wanted to finish at the same time and be together.
How many years did it take you running your chiropractic business, drbreck.com, before you did $20,000 a month of sales?
Oh, goodness.
After 7 years of school, how many years did it take you?
Several.
Think about this, folks. It took Dr. Breck 7 years to finish school, to get the training, and then it took you several years to bring in the money that somebody's bringing in after 6 weeks, only 6 weeks of training.
Right.
And 1 year in business, people are putting up those numbers. It is
well,
an
and there was
outstanding.
a 6-month grace period on the student loans. So after the 6 month, it was like, oh, this just got real because I got to pay all this back.
How much do you charge for the training, Ryan? If someone wants to buy a Tip Top Canine franchise,
Well, the training's included in the initial franchise fee.
And how much is that fee again?
It's $43,000, but that includes their first 3 months of SEO, grand opening marketing, and 6 weeks here, and all the gear that they're going to need.
Man, I appreciate you joining with us here this morning.
Absolutely.
And we're going to be having you on the show. We're going to try to have you on at least 2 or 3 times a month as we share the success of the different franchisees. We're going to be calling some of them. We'll actually be doing like a call-in portion of the show where we're going to call them on the phone and ask them about how it's been going for them. So Thrive Nation, get ready to get familiar with Ryan with Tip Top Canine. And if you are interested in buying a Tip Top Canine franchise, just go to tiptopcanine.com. Look for the franchise button and schedule a consultation with me, and we'll see if you're the right fit. You can ask any questions you want. It's all regulated by the federal government because it's a franchise. So this is a very a safe way to buy a business. So the numbers can't be made up. We can't make any claims that aren't backed up by actual documented numbers. I'm a big fan of Tip Top Canine, a huge fan of Ryan and Rachel, and I'm starting to even like dogs. For a minimum, I have to have just a little exposure to a dog, Jason. You know, I can do a dog. I can see dogs every Saturday for about an hour or two. Yeah. And then I'm good. I don't hate dogs. I'm glad that if you're listening right now out there and you love dogs, I love that you love dogs. I'm starting to like dogs. But I don't like dogs to the level that they would ever sell me a franchise. All right, now we're going to end the show with a boom. So here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom.